Dear friends, today in this session we are going to learn about the applications and needs of centroid, and we also see some of the methods of the calculation of centroid, especially using the first principles for a simple plane figures. So before going to start this session, I would like to recap the earlier session. In that session we are defining the centroid and center of gravity, and we are also differentiated between centroid and center of gravity, and we know the terms of the center of mass along with these. So basically a centroid, it is a geometric center for a plane figure so that the shape can be balanced. So in this figure you can see that he is saying that it is a plane figure. Centroid is meant for the plane figure, that means for a 2D. The mean position of all the points in a plane figure in all the coordinate directions. That means if you are taken any figure like this, if you take any figure, so it has some x and y coordinates. This is the point 1, point 2, point 1, point 2, like this. For this one, this is x1, and for this is the x2. So we should take the mean position of all the points. That means x1 plus x2 plus x3 x4 plus like that, divided by number of mean number of points we are considered. So similarly in the y direction also, in this direction also we need to take the points y1 and y2, and like that sum of all the positions in y2. So it indicates the mean position. So it indicates the mean position of all the coordinate directions. In other ways, it is the state at which if the loads are applied on that point, it will not produce any torque. So it is not going to produce any torque. So no torque will be there, and if I applied the load at that point, it will give the equilibrium state. So that point is very important because it is a geometric center, so if I applied the load on that centroid point, it will not produce any torque. So the system will be in the equilibrium state. In that means there is no moment, but it offers the reactions as by the beam system or the shape of that. The point at which the whole area is concentrated, because it is a 2D, the centroid is dealing with the 2D, hence it is talking about the only area. It is talking about the only area. So this is area. So because it is 2D, the entire area is going to be concentrated. Right? The point about which algebraic sum of moments of areas is 0. That means if I take a figure like this, so in that figure if I make these total area into some subparts, like these are the subparts of the areas, right? These are the subparts of the areas. I divided the total object into small parts. Now it is easy to calculate the area of this one. Area 1, this is the area 2, this is the area 3, area 4, area 5, area 6, like that. Take the moments of all the moments about a point. If I take the moment of this one, this area towards this point, and similarly I should take the this area towards this point, like that I need to take the moment means area in force into displacement. Now we are talking about towards the areas, therefore moment of areas. It is not the moment of force, it is moment of areas. Therefore, moment of areas is equal to area area into d. So what is the d here? Distance, right? You can see here, this is the distance, right? And where is the area? Each particle have the area, so each element is area a1. This is a1, and similarly a2, the remaining portions are a2, a3 like that, a2, a3 like that. Each element is a1, a2, a3, a4, a5 like that, and these all are should be multiplied with their perpendicular distance to a point. So then it is known as moments of areas. So like that, if I take all the moments of areas about a one point, if I take these areas like that in negative moment, this is the clockwise moment like that, anti-clockwise and clockwise moments. If I take at some point, their summation will become a zero. Their summation will become zero. That means it is equal a1 d1 plus a2 d2 plus a3 d3 minus a4 d4. This is only assumption, only 5 or 6 areas are there like that. So we are taking in the similar one d5 minus a6 d6 equal to 0. That is, it means, that means algebraic sum of all the moments, the algebraic sum of all the moments areas will be 0. So about which point? The center point. This is the point where we are talking about. So at this point, if I take the moments of all the areas of this side is anti-clockwise direction, and from this side it is a clockwise direction like that. So anti-clockwise I am taking a positive here, and clockwise is taken as negative. So if I do like this, I got the total sum is equal to the 0. So that point is known as centroid. So that point where the total moments of areas is become the 0, that point is known as centroid. It can also be known as barycenter in a geometry and in astronomy also, that we are also seeing that figure of example of the planets in the study session. And one more interesting point is the centroid can lies within the object or outside of the object. For that we can take any shape of the structures. So you can see the triangle shape. In a triangle, the centroid will be within the object. If you took a rectangle, there also the centroid will be within the object. If I took some other shapes which are some circular or curvilinear, like these type of some different shapes like this, then this centroid will be the outside of the object. So here it will be the centroid. So now it means it is outside. It is outside, not within the object. Object is this one. This is the object. But material is not there. This is a hollow portion. Within the hollow portion, the centroid is placed. Hence, this is a outside of the object also. So the centroid can be lies within the object or outside of the object. And we also seen that center of gravity and center of mass. When centroid is equivalent to the center of mass, when if it is a simple solid, if it is a simple solid, and uniform solids, simple solid and it's a uniform solids. That means the third dimension, which is other than the centroidal axis, is uniform throughout its length. The dimension is throughout uniform. Then it becomes a center of mass. The centroid now it becomes a center of mass. And in addition to that, if there is a uniform gravitational field is also there, if in addition to that, if there is a uniform gravitational field is there, then it becomes a center of gravity. So these are the two important terms we should understood, that center of mass is the centroid having the uniform third dimension of an object is known as the center of mass. If the center of mass and centroid are coincide, and similarly uniform gravitational field is also there, then it becomes a center of gravity. In some cases, center of mass and centroid will not be the equal. So in that case, if the center of mass is having uniform gravitational field, then it also becomes center of gravity. If the non-uniform gravitational field is there, in such cases, the center of gravity and center of mass both will be different. It is depends upon the orientation also. The centroid is related to the 2D figure because it is talks about the always areas, hence it is a 2D figure, 2D objects for. And for center of gravity is related to the volumes, weights, hence it is related to the 3D objects. Centroid can be located on symmetrical axis, whereas the center of gravity located on plane of symmetry. Plane of symmetry. The plane is important. Plane of symmetry. It is not the axis, it is the plane. Center of gravity, here you can understood that this is the axis, whereas the plane means we need to draw a two-dimensional object. This is the plane. That is the difference. So this is the axis. You can understood this is axis, whereas this one is a plane. This is the plane. So this is the difference between the centroid and center of gravity, right? These will be can be outside, even center of gravity, center of mass and centroid can lies within the object or outside of the object also. So coming to the today's session, we are going to learn about the need and application of centroid, calculate the positions of centroid for simple plane figures from first principles. Right? So first we understood what is the need of centroid to identify the location of center of mass of a uniform solid. So that means if a 3D figure is there, if it has its third dimension is uniform, then if you know the centroid of that object, so it will extend it to locate the center of mass. For example, if I take a circle, let us assume this is the circle, and I know the centroid of this one. If this will become a solid by when you are manufacturing the same solid, it has the dimension, that is thickness is the same, that's radius is same in at every point. Here is the same radius, same radius, same radius, same radius. At every point it is the same radius. Then this centroid will become center of mass. Then this centroid will become center of mass. So that is what he want to say. So it is easy to identify the center of mass for a uniform solid with the help of the centroid. And while the analysis, the object is stable and balanced under the applied loads. Because if it is if I am going to apply a load on this uniform solid, if I applied somewhere here other than the centroid, what happens? It will creates a tilt in the object. It will create a tilt in the object. So in order to avoid this, what I need to do? I should apply a load at the center of the mass or centroid. Now there is no tilt. If I apply like this the load, then no tilt. So that is the advantage of identifying the centroid or center of mass. Useful to find the moment of inertia. So this term is already you are came across in the physics, right? So it denotes the physical strength of the material, and it depends upon the shape of the object. So we will discuss it in later sessions, how to calculate the moment of inertia and how it depends on the centroid. Without locating the centroid, we can't calculate the moment of inertia. So it is a structural elements property which will emphasize the strength capacity of the structure. The fourth advanced need is to identify the location of center of gravity of a uniform solid under uniform gravitational field. So the same thing, whatever we said in the point 1, but where we are talking about the center of mass, now we are talking about the center of gravity. It is a uniform solid also, but in addition to that, the acceleration due to gravity should be uniform. If the acceleration due to gravity is a uniform, means it is a parallel to each other and their intensity is common, then this point will become a center of gravity line point. So to identify the location of the center of gravity of uniform solid under uniform gravitational field is also easy if I know the centroid. And it is also essential how the change of the centroid will affects the moving objects under the vibrations or rotations. If you see, if a water tank is there, if a water tank is if a water tank is like this and it is taken by the some uh, on a truck, let us say, due to this what happens, thus this water tank will subjected to small movements. So due to that this water is coming out, it is coming out from the your tank. So due to this emptiness of the tank, the centroid of this water tank will be changes. So initially that centroid, or you can say center of mass or center of gravity of this particular water tank, while it is moving with open lid, then it goes on emptying its water. So due to that, initially it may be the centroid here, now it comes to the down and down, down like that. So center of mass is coming down, center of gravity is also coming down. Due to that, it might be subjected to tilt conditions. There might be a problem of tilt condition, or it might be a problem of rotation, or it might be subjected to the more wastage of water due to more not more subjected to tiltness. So this can be happened for the moving objects. Hence, in order to understood the change of center of mass or centroid or center of gravity for the moving objects, especially in satellites also, if you see understood that a satellite is full of the a fuel which is used for to propulsion of the satellite, and it is also carrying some passing some types of it's a loads. That load is required for to launch the satellite. So these loads and fuel, while it is taking off and it is going into the orbits, so it will affects its center of mass. accordingly the direction of the that rocket will affects. So change of center of mass and centroid or center of gravity is obviously need to be studied to understood the better applications of engineering. So to the applications of centroid in engineering field, if I say that, earlier we are see that that is a moment of inertia, the which is a given to the bend, against of the bending action of a object structural element. So in the similar way, we can also see more applications. If the loads are applied without eccentricity to the centroid location, then it minimizes the stresses and deformations. So we are already seen that if I applied on a column one like this, if the column is like this, if I applied load at the center, if I applied the load at the center, it will become a compressive reaction and there is no other stresses are induced in this one. If for the same member, if I applied the loads other than the center, if somewhere if I applied here, then due to this will bend like this. Due to bending, it requires due to bending it also subjected to the bending moments actions, so it easily deforms then again and again, further deforms, deforms, and more stresses will induced in this one. Therefore locate the centroid is important, or center of mass location is important to minimize the stresses and deformations, and apply the loads on the same point is essential to avoid the torque or moment. So this is the same situation here, it is the momentum is came, if you see that this is the moment turning effect is came, so that should be avoided. How you can avoid it? Just pass the loads through the centroid. So now if you do like this, then no turning effect, no torque will be there. If you can also see the children's park, you many times you are observed that there is a seesaw like this. So on this one, a person is trying to pull or push himself to up and down. So how it is going to be balanced at the center, right? Due to this centroid concept only, right? The perpendicular distances and the loads, they will become clockwise and anti-clockwise moments about this point will creates the balance. So centroid makes the sense in the engineering applications in conjunction with the center of mass. And similarly, if you see the buses, where you can also see the buses, for the buses if you observe that, so there is a luggage cabin at the rear side, and lower side also there is a, if you see on the buses, so here it is a some luggage cabin will generally, if you have noticed it, if it is a luggage cabin, so it will be placed like this, luggage cabin compartment, you can say compartment is located lower the bus portion, lower portion of the bus in a tour buses. So maximum cases your luggage will be placed here only. But while in some RTC buses also you are seeing that somewhere here will be the luggage. That is also at the lower portion. Why they are locating the luggage buses at the lower portion? Because to lower the centroid or center of mass, if I put the luggage over here, this will increases my centroid from the bottom to the upper side. The centroid will shift to the top side, which is become uncomfortable while you are taking turnings. So hence, in order to have comfortability in driving under some good speeds, it is required to lower the center of gravity or center of mass or centroid to the below lower portion of the bus. Hence, the luggage compartment has been placing at this point is good. This is the good to locate this point. Or you can place here at the lower portion is also good to so that the centroid will become to the bottom portion at the lower portion, so that avoiding of tilt will be possible, right? So hence luggage should be at the bottom side for the buses, which is advisable. The vehicles on the curved path, like that, if you are also traveling in a curved path, let us say if you are traveling the curved path, the vehicle takes with a high speed, then what happens to the passengers? If vehicle is coming with this high speed, if the centroid is at the higher levels, it will goes to the tilt at the sharp turns. At sharp turns high speed, it will goes to the toppling, that means it will goes to just break down outside of the road. It will tilt from the outside of the road. So in order to avoid this, what you have to do that your vehicle should be broad and low height. So some of the buses are very widen, so that is advantage to that vehicle. It can carry the more load also, and due to that broadness, it having the risk of damage is less on the sharp turns with high speeds. Hence, these all are coming to applications of the center of mass or centroid for the engineering field. Now, how to locate the centroid? The centroid is termed as a notation C or G, can be located for an object with respect to the some reference axis. So, any object, if I taken any object, if I taken like this object, how I can specify this is my centroid? How I can specify this is my centroid? So I need to specify this point is my centroid of this figure. So in order to specify or to notify or to communicate with any other person, this is the centroid of this object, you need to have some references axis. So either you can draw reference axis somewhere here like this, right? Or you can draw reference axis somewhere here. So you can draw some reference axis adjacent to the object. This is your reference axis, right? Or and this is another reference axis. So you can draw these type of reference axis is the better advisable, so that the references could be used for easy to understand. So these option is good. The first option is this is the first option, which is the this one is the good first option, right? and and the second reference option, the second reference option is moderate, right? So you please use the adjacent to the your object. So hence this type of reference is good for you. So how you can refer this point? So talking about this, how you are going to refer this point of the centroid. So you now understood that the better way is, it is very nearer to the object, very nearer to the object. Take the reference axis very nearer to the or touching to the object. So now the centroid is at the middle, somewhere here. So in order to locate this one, You required a coordinate system. You required a coordinate system. Hence, rectangular coordinate system is followed for this to identify it. So, from this origin, this is an origin. So, this up to this point is known as x bar. This distance is known as x bar. So, this is known as x bar. And in the vertical direction up to this point of direction is known as y bar. This is known as y bar, right? So this is the reference. So you can measure y bar from this point to this point. Up to this point it is a y bar, right? What is the x bar? From this origin point to the your centroid point is known as x bar, right? So the same thing is here have been mentioned. So in the coordinate system, it is a rectangular coordinate system, and hence we require the x and y. Reference axes are yx and oy. So I take in some reference axis ox and oy. So then x bar is equal to x bar. So x bar means it is a horizontal distance. So you can see this is the horizontal distance from this point to this point. That means from O to A only. Hence it is OA is equal to coordinate of centroid on x-axis. X-axis and centroid. It is a centroid coordinate in x-axis, x direction. Right? And similarly, if I consider the OB, so where will be the OB? In the vertical direction. This is the OB. So this is nothing but y bar. So this distance is nothing but y bar. Y bar is the coordinate of centroid on y axis. The distance of centroid CRG from vertical reference axis. If I take in the vertical reference axis y axis, if this is the y axis, what is the distance of centroid? So if I talked about the y axis, you please understood, I am talking about the y axis. What is the distance of centroid? It is x bar. If I talk with respect to y axis, what I will get? X bar. So they are not they are opposite to each other. If I am talking about the y axis, it gives the x bar. If I talking about the x axis, then it gives the value of y bar. You see here. So if I talking about the x axis, from x axis to up to CZ, what is the distance? It is y bar only. So it is vice versa. If I am talking about the x axis, then I will obtain the y bar. If I talking about the y axis, then I get the value of x bar. So they are opposite to each other. So please understood this one. Axis and coordinate both are opposite for the centroid references. So if I am talking with the x-axis reference, then it is a y bar. If I am talking y-axis reference, then it is a x bar. While locating the centroid of plane areas, the following procedure is adopted to locate the axis of horizontal and vertical will provide easy calculation and without any error in calculation of centroid would be. So what is going that? Please follow this simple procedure to locate the horizontal and vertical coordinates for the location of centroid. So if I say that if my object is like this, some object is like this, so it can be of any shape, right? So this is like this, right? It is an object now. So choose the bottommost line of the object for the horizontal axis. So now I am drawing the reference axes. Please mind that I am drawing the reference axes. So for this, what he is suggesting as for the horizontal axis, choose the bottommost horizontal line. Here it is some horizontal portion. This is not the bottom. This is not the bottom. This is not the bottom. So bottom is this one. So I should draw a horizontal line here, right? This is the horizontal line I should draw. So here I am drawing a horizontal line. So bottommost horizontal line, which is very touching to the bottommost points, and would be leftiest point all the points in the entire object. If this is the entire object, this is an entire object. So what is the fourth most left point is there? Fourth most left. If I say this is the left and this is the right, then what is the leftiest and the farthest left point is this one. This is the farthest point. So your axis should start from here. So that means this is not the left point, this is the right point, this is the right point, this is also a right side, our left, it is left. So this is the left portion, which is the far away, the last left portion. So we are considering about the last left portion is this one. So hence your horizontal axis should start from that point. So that point it should be located, right? And for the vertical axis, what you have to do that, choose the leftiest most vertical line of the object as the vertical axis. Now I said that this is the right hand and this is the left hand side. Now for the vertical axis, what I have to do that, choose the vertical line which is leftiest, most leftiest. So this is the right side vertical line, this is the right side vertical line, this is the right side vertical line, this is the right side, some more left. So this is the last left vertical line. So draw here a vertical line, right? So draw here a vertical line which is touching to the object, right? So draw like this. So now it is a vertical axis is drawn and horizontal axis is also drawn. So now it is easy, you locate the origin. Now this is the origin point, origin point O. This is the origin point O, right? So from this you can calculate the your x and y terms. So x and y terms can easily be calculated. So with this we are understood that we have to draw the an horizontal axis such that it is the bottommost and it is the leftiest point of the entire object. And similarly, the for the vertical axis it should be the line leftiest line. So that is the vertical axis. Now your object will be somewhere in between like this. It will be touches to everything like this. So this is the your position of the object. So you observe this, this at this point it is a touching positions, right? So like this. So this is the locating of the your centroid references axis. So now you are understood the location of the your reference axis. Now which method we have to follow to determine the centroid. So for the determination of the centroid we have the four methods. The first one is from first principle, or for continuous areas, that is the from first principle integration. It is also using the integration or calculus formulas which is used for the continuous areas. What is the continuous areas? If you take, this is a continuous area, right? If I draw like this, is a continuous area. If I draw like this also, it is a continuous area, right? So that means a uniform shape is there, like your triangle is also a continuous area, right? So continuous areas. For those shapes you can use the first principle or integration, which is very easy to calculate, right? It can be applied for the discrete elements also, that is incontinuous, but it takes a lengthy procedure to solve the equations. Hence we are avoiding for the discrete elements, but we are using this integration or first principle method first principle method for the continuous areas, right? So in addition also that we are also going to use the analytical method or method of moments. Method of moments are using principle of moments, using principle of moments. So this is already, you know that we are already discussed that what is the moment of area. So we are dividing the total area into parts, and we are taking moments of each area. This is the area 1, area 2, area 3, area 4, like that, and we are taking the moments of these areas about some fixed point, and then you will get the where the centroid location is there. So you can also get, due to this you are getting the x bar here. In order to want to get the y bar, then this strip will also be divided into vertical lines like this. If I like this, then this is area 1, area 2, area 3, area 4, like that. Then take the moments of each and every area, you will get the y bar here, right? So this is the resultant where you are going to calculate, that is in the parallel force like system, and we are also following the same system for the principle of moments, right? So this can be used for the discrete areas or continuous areas also, but discrete areas it is most useful. If I use like the discrete areas like this, if it is a rectangle is there, in addition to that, if I have a triangle like this over this, now integration makes very cumbrous, where it takes more time. Whereas the your analytical method or method of moments will gives in easy way to calculate the centroid. If in addition to this, if I had a circle also here, so you can add any number of shapes and easy to calculate with the use of the analytical method or a method of moments, or you can say principle of moments. For these type of discrete areas when combined with each other and at different shapes, it is a combination of the shapes that is very useful to calculate the centroid by analytical method or method of moments or principle of moments, right? And the third is graphical method, in which you need to draw the same the same areas are to be divided, and each area you have to find out the resultant. So in the same graphical method, you have to draw the understood this area, its intensity where it is, and its area where it is. So how much, like that. Then draw some areas graphs and locate the centroid like this. So all these you have to locate these areas only, these lines. So they will add at some point. But if I take some A, B, C like that, here you will get that the resultant point where it is in the middle, like that. Middle or nearer to the middle it will come out. So experimental method is very it is a practical method. In that situation, uh, if you have on the your finger or your head, if you take a stick of chalk piece, then try to balance it. So at this point it is not going to balance. If I take at this point it is not going to balance. If I take at this point it is also not going to balance. If I take some more, some here some place, if I hold the finger at this point it will balance. So where the object is going to be balanced, then it is known as a centroid point of that. So this can be obtained by some experiments like this, by putting your finger at the edge like that. So if I put the chalk piece like this, it will fall down. If I put the chalk piece like this, it will fall down. So but if I keep like this, it will be stable. So this is the stable condition. This is the false condition where this chalk piece will fall down, right? If I put at the edge of the finger, right? So this is known as experimental method, or you can also be used by the plumb bob. Plumb bob is used generally to know the verticality. So I can drop a plumb bob some point on this one, so it will take a line like this. So therefore centroid can be somewhere here in between. So I will do the horizontal also. So when the intersection point will come, then it will gives you your centroid point. So this will also be an experimental method. So after that, now we are going to see how the first principle can be used for the simple shapes. So for this integration, we require have a some discrete element or small element or differential element area. So differential element area. So in order to calculate, I required to take a differential element area, that is dA. So a small area, a small very negligible area. You see in the figure here we noted it is a discrete element area. Here you can see that that is a dA. So actual object is this green color. So but I taken a small area, that is a differential element dA, which is very small, right? So with that small area, if I integrated over the its limitations. So what are the limitations? This is the starting point, this is the ending point, this is the one of the boundary condition, and this is also a starting point and this is also ending point. So these two are the boundary conditions. By using these boundary conditions and summation or the integration, I can obtain the areas and centroids, so using the moments. So so in order to get the entire area, I need to differentiate, so I need to integrate the differential element with the boundary limits, like that 1 to 2, like that 3 to 4, like that we have the boundary limits. So with that you can solve for the area. For the irregular shapes also it can be possible. For the is for that, to find the centroid, you need to take the moment of an area, which is a first moment of an area, that is been denoted as a q. The first moment of area is been denoted as q. So therefore area is a, and we are wanted to have the moment. If I am taking with respect to x-axis, I already earlier told that if I am referencing x-axis, you have get the y value. Therefore if I am taking the moment with respect to x-axis, so this is the x-axis. If I am taking the moment with respect to x-axis, so my area has to be multiplied with this distance. What is this distance now? It is a y. So moment of an area, therefore area into distance, area into distance. So area is a and distance is here y, therefore it is a y. So this is the principle of first principles. That means first moment of an area we are going to calculate to find the centroid. So in order to get the area, I need to integrate the differential element of each particle, each element. So area is the summation of the each individual differential elements. Hence I am integrating here, and then y dA. So I kept that y into integration, so that because y gives the my boundary conditions, y can be here at some y, here it is some other y, y1 y2 y3 y4, like that. Y is going to be vary at each location. Here it is also some other y, here it is some other y. So y is going to be different at different places. That's why I taken the y into integration term. Similarly, if I want to take about the y-axis, the momentum of area, so simply I need to multiply with respect to the x. Because I termed as y-axis, then the value will come x. If I term the x-axis, the value will come y. Right? So But see, in the figure also the same thing you will look at the same thing. So if I taking the first moment with respect to y-axis, then this particle or this element is going to be multiply the perpendicular distance, this one. So what is the distance of perpendicular distance from here to here? That is x only, hence x dA. And this x is going to be from this point also x1, x2, x3, x4, x5, like that, x7, x8, x9, like that. So I need to integrate all those values, hence summation, hence you took integration. So after obtaining the first moment of an area, we are interested to find the centroid. So before going to be further more discussion, I want to explain the units of the centroid. So what is units of centroid? Units of centroid. Units of centroid is simply, it is a distance, x distance or y distance. Hence it is a in meters or mm. Right? So now you please observe from this equation what is the units of this one. So it is nothing but, if I have taken area in meter square, then area in meter square, then what is the unit of this one? It is a meter into meter square, that means meter cube. So this figure gives us meter cube. This qx quantity or qy quantity both will give you meter cube. But what about the centroid? Centroid units are meters or or mm. Then I need to get the meters, or centimeters, or whatever you can say. Now actually this term is, it is a meter cube, but I want meter. So what I have to do? I have to divide with the meter square. The meter cube, if I divided the meter cube, if I divided the meter cube divided by meter square, what you will get? Meter. So meter cube value is, you know that meter cube is, that is a q, qx or qy. What is the meter square? It is nothing but area. So multiply the divide the q value to the area, you will get the centroid value. Therefore q by a will gives the centroid value. Either it will be cx or cy, cx or cy, right? So to get this centroid, I need to divide the q value or the moment of an area divided by the area. Then you get the centroid. Therefore, centroid is equal to moment of area divided by area only. So that is the centroid. So the same thing you should do. So see the same thing here. Therefore, this is the moment of an area about x-axis and so about y-axis and divided by area, so that you will get the coordinate of the centroid x bar, or it can be cx or x bar. So what is the x bar? So this object, this is the x bar. So this distance will be the x bar. If object is like this, so this is the x bar point. Then what is the y bar? Qx, that means moment of an area divided by area, you got the y bar. Y bar means this is the y bar, right? So now this is the centroid of this object. So this is the representation of the centroid of an object with the using of the boundaries of the element or object. So now you see the simple figure. I am taking a rectangle having width b and height h. It is the width b and height h. It is a rectangle. So you know, you better understood now that for the first principles we required some dA, that means differential element area. So for this I am taking this uh, this portion, I am taking this as a differential area. So this is my differential area element, that is dy into b. So that's why the area of the differential element is b into dy. The area of differential element will be b into dy, right? So because b the width of the differential element and height of the element area is dy. So by multiplying with that one, I am obtain the dA value. So you know that qx is equal to y into integral of dA, hence integral of yb dy. Now in order to integrate it, I require the boundary conditions. So this dy, this particular element can travel from the bottom to top. So it can travel like this. So this particular differential element can travel from the bottom to the top, like this it can travel. So while it is coming to the bottom, it is the zero height, and while it is going to the upper side, it is the equivalent to the h. So at this point it is h. So 0 to h it can travel. So then it gives the summation of all the elements of horizontal areas. So you are getting the boundary equation, boundary limits are 0 to h. Then different integrate with dy, then you got y square by 2. So after differentiation of the y dy, you are obtaining y square by 2. So that means this is the by 2, right? So that is the same thing, y square by 2. And b is the same thing which we are kept it outside. Then apply the boundary conditions, lower limit and upper limit. Then you got that qx is equal to bh square by 2. But as per the formula, y bar should be equal to the sigma or integrate y dA by a. That means qx by a. Qx value is bh square by 2, bh square by 2 divided by a value, area of the rectangle is bh. So therefore, so we are area of the rectangle bh, right? So when I divided it, you got this b will get cancelled to this b, and one h is here, this will become, h will get cancelled, therefore square will be lapsed, therefore only remaining is h by 2, and so the y bar is equal to h by 2. So similarly you can also calculate the x bar, and you will get the x bar will be b by 2. So the same thing has been represented here. Y bar, this is the y bar, that means vertical distance from this point to this point is equivalent to the h by 2. And similar way of calculation, you will get the x bar, this is the x bar. So this is from this point to this point, the same thing, b by 2, right? So this is the way you can calculate this centroid using the first principles, that is nothing but integration. So keep practicing this centroid and keep balance in your knowledge, so that you can reach higher altitudes. In this session, we are discuss about the need and applications of centroid, calculate the positions of centroid for simple plane figures from first principles. Thank you.